The one thing I learned when I was 32 years old, which I wish I was born with, is knowing what it takes to be great. The mindset, the dedication, and everything involved in that. Well, this week, we have UFC superstar Iaquinta, who is going to tell us exactly what it takes to perform in the hardest sport at the highest level. Check it out. Yeah, kid, welcome back to another episode of the Handsome Home Buyer Podcast. My name is Charles, aka the Handsome Home Buyer, aka Captain Permit, aka I think we're gonna cut it out. It's just not fun. Or at least put her on hiatus until Levy comes back. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Obviously, every podcast is sponsored by Carlin Financial. We love Carlin Financial, specifically Sal Rizzolo. I want to put this out there to all the real estate investors and all the agents right now. I'm sure you're dealing with this shit. I've been dealing with this shit like crazy, which is lots of buyers, but not lots of qualified buyers. I had 12 offers coming in a property, 13 offers coming in a property last week, and only one of them was qualified. Sal looked through every single one of the offers. Half these people weren't qualified to buy a sandwich, let alone a $650,000 house. So whether it's Sal or anybody else, I recommend that every investor and every realtor have a mortgage professional that is screening every single accepted offer, because otherwise you could be stuck under contract for 30, 60, 90 days only to find out that these people can't get a mortgage. In a certain case, I actually had 3 deals fall apart in 1 week. That's what led me to this. Somebody actually lost their down payment. They got a commitment and they still couldn't qualify for the mortgage. So with rates jumping 2% in the last 60 days, this is something you absolutely have to do. And you need somebody who can get really creative with financing, because affordability is really where the market's moving. You have to make sure that you can incentivize these people, have different programs, and have a lender that can structure deals in a way to get more people into deals as rates go up and continue to go up. Who knows how long they're going to go up or how far they're going to go up. We'll talk to today's guest about it later on down the road to see what his opinion is. He's selling a bunch of houses these days. Very diverse guy. But obviously, I'm the handsome home buyer. If you have a house that smells like cat pee, dated from the 1960s, 6 inches of mold on the wall, human waste floating past the basement steps, you know I want it. I want to buy it. I don't care where the market is. I'm quick. I'm easy. Lord knows I'm a good time, depending on who you ask. 516-777-SOLD. And obviously, if you need anything in the permit world, Captain Permit's got you. 516-513-8838. We got you from Elmont all the way out to Montauk. Obviously, the townships are a disaster and getting worse by the second. You've been dealing with permit drama?
There always is a little bit, but I'm not crazy,
Permit drama? Got to call the captain. 516-513-8838. All right, we've got an awesome guest today. I've known you for a long time, been following you, been a fan of you for a long time. We finally met over at the Cardinal event not that long ago. Unbeknownst to me, until my staff, which half of them grew up with me and went to Wanto High School, told me, we went to school with Iaquinta.
Crazy, man. What a small world, right?
Wanto High School, man. How'd you like Wanto?
School wasn't really for me.
But just Wanto and I feel like when I was growing up, everyone's like, I can't wait to get out of here. I can't wait to get out of here. And I was like, I had the best childhood, man. I never want to grow up.
Yeah.
This shit was awesome.
Oh, Wanto was great. Wanto was great. It was a small school. The teachers were great. But I was there for athletics. I was a wrestler, and I loved wrestling, football, wrestling, lacrosse. I think whenever anyone's moving to Nassau County, I always, I tell them how great Wanto is, and in my heart, I hope they end up there. If it's a person that I really like, you love it, and I just. One of my friends just moved there. I helped him buy the house, and he loves the house. And I'm like, dude, just wait till your kids go through Wanto High School, and you get to see the bars and the nightlife, the scene. There's the scene in Wanto. You're 15 minutes from the beach.
Because you had a Mulcahy's Out of the Weeds card for Monday night.
I think I still have it. Somewhere. Yep.
So just for people who don't know you and people that do know you, because obviously you're doing a lot of different things, give kind of like the 30 to 60 second intro of who you are, what you've done, what you do, and where you're going in the future.
So I was a high school wrestler, thought I was tough, went to a UFC gym.
You're pretty damn tough.
Well, at that time I wasn't as, so I started wrestling, and then one of my friends was into this fighting stuff. Mm-hmm. So I saw a UFC, and Matt Hughes was the wrestler, taking down everybody, beating everybody. I was like, I wrestled, I could do that.
That was in UFC first, really.
Yeah, that was
that was when the first Ultimate Fighter came out and it really blew up.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, I got into it like right as the first Ultimate Fighter was happening.
How old were you at that time?
I was like 17, 18 years old.
So you started very late, considering like a lot of these kids now, since it's so big, like these kids are starting at like an 8, 5, 3.
Yeah.
Like,
No, well,
doing jujitsu.
back then it was like you had your art, you
Okay.
know, I was a wrestler, and then I got into, around that age was everyone would get into, you know, it was almost like your second career was like you were either a boxer or a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu guy, and then you added on the other elements. Now these kids are doing it from the get-go. They're doing
And they're training every
everything
discipline.
from the beginning. So by the time they get to 17, 18 years old, they're complete. I had to add on the jiu-jitsu and the boxing a little later. But wrestling taught me how to learn, and I knew kind of the process of learning a martial art, which was, you know, wrestling really is a martial art when you think about it.
Do you feel like for that time period that wrestling was probably the best base to start? I always felt like, and again, I don't know MMA anywhere near the way you do, but I always felt like, and maybe I'm not right about this, but the wrestlers were always the physically and mentally toughest people.
Definitely.
I was a wrestler in high school. I ended up stopping because I just like to eat too much. I would walk up Water Avenue, go to the Chinese restaurant at like 12 or 1 o'clock, and then I'd get the hell beat out of me at like 3 o'clock, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that.
Cutting weight.
Yeah, it's the mental part of it is just the cutting weight. There's no satisfaction. You don't get any joy out of it except getting your hand raised at the end. You know, it's like you're just working every day, grinding to get that win, and you're out there all by yourself. It's a unique sport. There's not many things like it, and that's why I think the wrestlers come out of it mentally tough, physically strong, and you learn how to learn at a very young age, which I think transfers over to, like, I learned the boxing and the jiu-jitsu. I think I picked it up pretty quickly because I learned throughout, you know, middle school and high school how to you know, learn techniques and put them into practicality in competition.
So keep going. You were saying, so you started out as a wrestler, 17 years old. Your buddy's like, I'm doing this UFC thing. You walk into the gym. What happens?
So I walk into the gym and we're like, oh, we'll just mess around a little. You know, I take him down and right away, arm bar, I'm freaking tapping. I was like, the heck? So I'm not going to take him down again. So we're standing up and we're just like moving around, and he kicked my leg. Uh-huh. And I was like, oh, you know, it didn't feel good. Did it again. So I'm like, all right, he's kicking me. It hurts me. I'm kicking him. So I wound up a kick and I hit his elbow with my foot. And I might have fractured. I never got an x-ray on it, but the thing blew up. And just like that, I was like, he's kicking me, it hurts me. I'm kicking him, it hurts me. I take him down. I go, this isn't like what they make it. It's not as easy as it looks on TV. So I was very humbled. I was very, very humbled. And
it's just interesting that was the catalyst for you being like most people, like me, I would do that and be like, all right, pain. You were like, oh, I love this. Like that took you to another level. You were like, all right, now I want to devote. I mean, the amount of time you've put into this, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. No, I was like, from that point, it was just like my entire life. I was going to Nassau Community College. I wanted to be a phys ed teacher, and then kind of put that on hold. I was skipping out on class to go to the gym. I had a fight coming up. My parents are both educators. My dad's a phys ed teacher. Mom's a math teacher. So they were like, get a job, school benefits, that whole thing. And once I started fighting, they were like, they didn't see the big picture. So it was like a little bit of a rough time with my parents for them, like dealing with this. But then I linked up with Ray Longo, Matt Serra, and they saw once I brought my father to the gym, they saw that there is a way to make a living, and people are making good money doing it now.
How long between when you walked into the gym that first time and when you had your first fight?
It wasn't too long. It was maybe a couple months. Yeah, I did a kickboxing fight.
Wow.
Yeah. I went in.
So basically, no real experience of that. You walked to the gym, a wrestler. You're like, I like this, and within a few months, you were in the ring fighting. Headgear, no headgear?
Yeah, no headgear. It was an amateur fight. They would do it at these gym smokers in. It was a gym in like a warehouse,
Yeah.
warehouse gym in I think it was in Garden City somewhere, like in the industrial area. And they set up a ring, and I invited a few friends down, and I had a good fight. I wonder what that kid's doing now, if he kept up with me all these years, But yeah, no, it was a good fight. Not that I killed the guy or he killed me or anything, but it was a great experience. It was
Just further fueled.
Yeah, the adrenaline. There was like that. I got out of my first wrestling match in middle school. It was like that. It was like I got my hand raised. I got off the mat. And I was like, what the heck? I don't even remember. Like your mind just, I guess, adrenaline, whatever it is. And it was the same thing with that. I had to watch the tape over again. I didn't even know what had happened, but yeah, that was the start. And but I do remember the first time I sparred, I had a really good sparring session, and when the coach was like, oh, you're a natural, and I thought I was a natural, but he didn't realize all the wrestling experience that I had that went into it. But I remember leaving the gym, and I was just so excited that he gave me that compliment, and it was super motivating,
So the thing that I think is worth talking about for a couple of seconds, which hit home for me, is the thing about the parents, right? Like your parents not understanding.
Yeah.
So my parents are in the same boat. Like my father had a Mako business. I ended up opening my own, even though I really wasn't into it. I ended up leaving the body shop business after 10 years to do this. But when I was telling them I was going to do this, it's not that they weren't supportive, because they were very supportive people, but they looked at me kind of like, you're going to do what? Like, you're going to borrow hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy a house that looks like shit, to fix it, to then sell it to somebody else for more money. And it wasn't that they weren't not supportive, but they weren't supportive because I think it was just so far outside their reality.
Yeah.
I think every kid goes through that at some point, where there's kind of like a changing of the guards, where your parents' reality isn't your reality, and they're not going to see what you see. But a lot of people, I give you a lot of credit, because you were able to like push through that and just say, I'm not going, college isn't for me. I don't want to be an educator. I'm going to be a fighter, a motivational speaker, a real estate entrepreneur, whatever it is, all those and then some. What do you say to people that are in that situation who maybe feel like they're held back because their parents are telling them to do one thing and they're kind of caught in that?
Yeah, I'd say definitely listen to everything that your parents have to say, but you gotta follow your heart. It's really what it is. If it's something that you want to do, and your parents might not see it, anybody might not see it. I remember people saying to me, I had this heavy bag, and I put it in my basement, and I was hitting the heavy bag, and a couple of my friends were over. We were watching TV, and I was just like hitting the bag, and they're like, "So is this like what you're gonna do?" I was like, "Yeah, this is what I'm gonna do." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And I remember it sticks out in my head, and I was like, "You just don't get it, They just don't get it." And it was what I was passionate about, like what you were passionate about. I'm sure there was other people besides your parents who were also like, I was giving up on the Mako thing to do.
Everyone's like, "Kid, you're fucking nuts."
Yeah,
There's what are you doing? There's no way you can do this. Because for all intents and purposes, I had a good career. I had a business, and I could have done that for 30, 40, 50 years, but I wasn't happy.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You got to be happy. You got to be content with what you're doing, and if it doesn't work out, you got to be happy with that too. And I think I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And at the time, I didn't really have much of a backup plan, but I knew that school was always going to be there. If I wanted to go back to school, no matter what age, I could always go back and finish up my degree and go that route. But at that time, it was strike while the iron's hot. I was like all in on this thing. I was eating, sleeping, and breathing, fighting.
So that leads into a couple things. Most interesting thing about you since I met you is you are extremely humble, right? In a sport where like I feel like you can't be. So, or in anything, like if you want to compete at the highest level, like Tyson walks into the ring and he's like, he has to think that he's the best all the time, and he has to like portray that, because I feel like you have to be. Same thing in any business. Like I have to be like, I'm the best house flip. I'm going to get out there and get the best deals. You were in the most difficult sport in the world, in my opinion, at the highest possible level, and you are the nicest, most humble, laid-back person. It's just interesting to see.
Yeah, it might be a fault of mine. I might have to get rid of the humbleness a little bit.
I don't think so, man.
Yeah.
I think you're doing okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that comes from the wrestling background and just,
Well, is there kind of a switch with you? Like when you're going into a fight, do you flip a switch and it's a different version of Al, or this is just you all the time, or how does
no,
that
for
work?
sure. I mean, when I'm in there, I'm just a different I'm a different, it's like you're fighting for survival, and in training too. Um, they don't call me raging out for no reason, but yeah, no, there's definitely a switch and like, um, I don't think you can't always be, running around like a crazy UFC guy fighter. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just who I am. How yeah, I don't know why that is, but
No,
it's
I mean I
just,
think
yeah,
it's a great thing. It's interesting. Your
yeah,
demeanor is you have like a very calm, humble, nice. It's a very nice.
cool. Oh, I
It's just
appreciate it.
it's interesting. So one thing that I learned in probably my early 30s that I wish I knew when I was, as young as possible, and you obviously knew this way before me, which is what it takes to be great at something. So there's like, for me, I think I'm like, in order to be great at something, and I happen to have an addictive personality, you have to be obsessed with something. You have to just be like we were talking off camera before, guys that are in now when you were doing it, it's 2, 3, 4 times a day that you're training. You have to have a certain mindset. You have to be unaffected by other people's opinions. You have to see something actually happening before it does. Before you ever stepped into the ring in the UFC for the first time and you went to the gym for the first time, I feel like you saw it. So, if you can touch a little bit on that, what it takes to be great in the hardest sport there is at the highest level.
Yeah, I think that my father is pretty successful high school football coach. Coached at Limbrook, then moved on to Hewlett. He was at Hewlett for most of my life, and he just moved over to Manhasset. And I think he might be the most winningest, or one of the most winningest high school football coaches in Nassau County. And I got that from him. I mean, he just eats, sleeps, and breathes football. It's just like that's his life. He wakes up and it's like he's always we'll be at a family party and he's in there in the corner with a napkin and he's drawing up plays and like thinking and he's always he'd come home and he'd be talking about, oh, we got this kid, he's 300 pounds and he's in 7th grade.
Oh, Jesus.
But something like that. But there's some kid, he's like, he did come with this. He's a big kid and he's in like 7th or 8th grade and he's like, not the best athlete, but he's got 5 years. And he's just talking about this kid he's gonna, he's a smart. His dad wants him to be. His dad is begging me to get him into the football program. And he came in the first day. He was wearing baggy pants, and now he's wearing he's wearing like tight clothes because he lost 15 pounds. And he gets excited about it. He gets excited about the team and the players and stuff. So I think that I get that from him. I just that was like his thing was always. He's just like, that's who he is. He is football coach J. Iaquinta. And I kind of just became like fighter Al. It was like, that was all I was.
Makes sense. You grew up with seeing that obviously seeing the work ethic.
Yeah.
Seeing what it takes to operate. I mean, for what he was doing on the highest level.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Talk to me about the pressure, right? Like the pressure of being in the public, the pressure of being in the ring, managing that, being on social media. There's a lot of people like, even me in this little microcosm of real estate, there's a lot of people that say nasty things. There's a lot of people that say nice things. When you're on like a world stage like that, what is it like dealing with the pressure?
Yeah, that's the whole thing, really. I mean, you put yourself out there and, yeah, I mean, the pressure could either break you or it could push you and fuel you. You know what I mean? Like anybody that doubted me or was hating on it, I'd use that as fuel, and it would just push my workouts more and make me go the extra mile. And also with the love, when people would show me love, it was like I used both of it, and it just propelled me. I think I always I didn't ignore the hate. I definitely paid attention to it. and I wanted to make those people eat their words.
So it fueled you, basically.
Yeah, definitely fueled me, and I feel like I'm one of those people that the more pressure, the better I perform.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. The more the higher the stakes, the better I do.
Talk to me about the training, right? So I'll relate it to real estate. Like, people come to me and they're like, I want to do what you're doing. I want to do 80, 100 houses a year, whatever it is. But I'm like, oh, you just showed up. I just started hearing about you, but nobody saw, the 3 to 4 years that I trained with a mentor. Nobody saw the entire year I went out there and made offers 7 days a week and never got a house. Talk about the training process, the things that people don't see to get to the level that you're at.
Yeah, people don't realize how much work goes into it. All they see is the 15, 25 minutes in the cage, but it's just, it's morning, day, and night. It's diet. The 10 weeks leading up to the fight is every single thing that you put into your body is under a microscope. Oh, should I eat this? If I eat more, I got to work out more. I got to do, you're just playing a balancing game with every single thing. Your sleep is important for training. You just like everything. You're not going out. You're not going out chasing girls. You're just kind of like if you start a training camp and you're like single and you don't have any girls you hang out, it's like very lonely. It's you're just like everything. And even if you do have a guy, like a lot of girls, they don't understand what it takes, and it's if you want to be the best, like that's got to come first before anything.
See, it's funny you say that, because when you were talking about your father, because this kind of hits home for me, again, having a very addictive personality. Fortunately, it's for positive things. I try to stay away from the negative things, but I work a lot, and I've been, the last 6 years that I've been doing this, I've been really caught up in it. So as you were talking about your dad being in the game for probably 40 years, he's been a football coach. Yep. And then being that obsessive with it, which is how you need to be to get to that level. How was your mom with that? Because that's like something I struggle with, like in any kind of relationship.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have also, it sounds like you have, being that like dedicated to what you're doing. How does that work?
Yeah, no, my mom was super supportive. Always. She was always at his games. She would make cookies, and after the game, she'd go onto the bus and she'd give him, and the whole team would get cookies and stuff. So I mean, she's a math professor. She taught at Nassau Community College. She developed the scheduling that they use for the football, the ranking system that they use. So I mean, she's really his partner in every aspect. Yeah, no, for
like
sure.
They're all in together,
and she knows all the players on the team. She's sitting with the parents at the games, watching the games and stuff. It's it's a beautiful thing what they got, and it's helped my dad to be able to do everything that he wants to do and be as successfully as he has been.
How long have they been together for?
43 years. Yeah, married for 43 years, and then 10, so 53.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old are they? So they've been together since like high school.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, no, it really is. Yeah.
Talk about biggest high in your professional career, biggest low in your professional career.
The biggest low was probably the last one that I fought at MSG. Got knocked out in like a minute and 30 seconds.
But I mean, you came in off of like a week's notice, bro.
Well, no, not that one. That was the Khabib fight. That was that was like the last one was Bobby Green. I fought at MSG.
Okay.
And I had been off for a year, maybe 2 years. I hadn't fought, and I've been selling real estate. I've been doing, I got into other things, and it was kind of like my last hurrah. I went in there and I gave it what I could, but I've been battling injuries and stuff like that. The Khabib fight, that was a whole different thing. I mean, that was probably a little feather in my cap. I would have liked to have won that fight, but taking it on short notice like that, and him being,
what was it, 2 weeks out? 3 weeks
so
out?
I was training for a fight. Yeah. I was fighting that night.
Okay.
I was going to be the first fight of the night. And then Khabib's opponent didn't make weight. So that it was the day before I hopped up to the main event, and I took the main event. I was supposed to fight a 3-round fight against a striker, and now I'm fighting a 5-round main event, headlining the Barclays Center in Brooklyn against one of the best, if not the best, to ever do it. 5-round title fight. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, it was wild. If I ever have a weekend that's as crazy as that, I don't know what the hell is gonna happen, because that was the same weekend that Connor threw the dolly through the bus.
Oh yeah.
I was on that bus. It was nuts. It was just like the craziest 3-day period. I barely slept, just because the adrenaline. When you find out you're fighting a title fight, it was like, I was just wired. I was just thinking everything, visualizing the fight through my head over and over again, what I would do in this situation, what I would do in that situation, seeing myself get beat up and having to come back, seeing myself winning quickly. And yeah, the way it went, it was not the best. I got beat up for 5 rounds, but I had good moments in the fight, and I was the only one to go 5 rounds with Khabib. So although I didn't get the win, it is there is some positives to take away from it.
No, absolutely, man. What would you say that's one of the highlights of your career?
Yeah, but that, and then Kevin Lee was he was like my arch rival. I fought him when it was his pro debut, and this was in like 2017, 2016 even. I was very young. It was my second or third fight in the UFC, and I beat him unanimous decision. And then he kept talking, and then he started winning, doing better, and we were always kind of like, I would win a few, he would win a few, I would lose one, he would lose one, and then he would win one, and he'd mention my name, and then he started saying that he thought he won the first fight. So I was like, this guy. They made the rematch. I fought him the fight after Khabib. After I fought Khabib, I fought Kevin Lee, and I beat him for the second time in a 5-round fight. And at the end of the fight, so we weighed in and we squared off, and he goes, "Same Al," kind of like I haven't evolved, kind of thing. Like I'm the same guy, and he's saying he wasn't.
How much of that is like head games? How much of that is trying to like throw you off?
Oh, 100%. And that's where he went wrong. He was trying to play head games with me, and it was like, dude, I beat you the first time, and I might not be the smartest guy, but I'm light years ahead of you. So he goes, "Same Al." I go, "Yeah, same Al." And I don't think he thought that was going to be the response, So, it was like, I beat you the first time. I'm the same guy. I beat you. It wasn't physical. It wasn't physically that like he was a physically stronger, more power. There's no reason he should. I should have lost. I should have beat him. He was a super stud athlete, bigger, stronger, younger. But I was just mentally smarter than him, and I think just my fight IQ was so much better, and that kind of proved it right there when he squared off and said that, and I said, same Al. And then towards the end of I could tell first round went his way, second round kind of went back and forth, and then I started picking it up, and then in between the fourth and the fifth round, I was sitting there on the stool, and I could see he was tired, and the thought of failure was starting to creep into his brain. And I looked across, and I was just like, "Same Al, dude, same Al." And at the end of the fight, I was just yelling. My nose was bleeding, or my eye was bleeding. Something, there was like blood, and I was just like, "Same Al," And he didn't even know how to react. He was. He didn't even know what was going on at that point. But that was a big win for me, and that was beating him after all those years of him chirping and talking and everything. That was probably the highlight for sure.
So let's talk a little bit about the transition, right? Life after professional fighting. You got into real estate. Why real estate?
So I got my license. I I was selling houses like during the Khabib. I sold a couple houses that
I remember that.
Yeah.
So I went to the East Coast RIA, which is where I got my start, and I remember going to one of the last meetings I went to, and you were there.
Yeah. I'd see you. I saw you at a couple of them. But I got hurt. I hurt my knee in, I don't even know, it was like 2017. I had a surgery, and the doctors were like, you might not fight again. I had a very rare injury. I tore cartilage behind my kneecap.
This happened in a fight or during training?
Yeah, it happened in a fight. And I had one surgery. That was in 2012. I had this injury. It was 2012. And then I had a surgery that kind of like, it was like a patch job, and that held up for 4 or 5 years. And then it started just wearing away. The scar tissue was wearing away, and it was kind of like bone on bone. So some of the doctors were like, don't do this surgery, you'll never fight again. But this one doctor at Hospital Special Surgery, he was like, we've never done it on a UFC guy, but I'm confident that we'll get you right back in there. I was like, that's all the hope I needed, because I couldn't really fight the way I was. It was just so painful. I was like, what do I have to lose, you know? So, but it also, these other doctors are telling me I might not fight again. So what am I going to do? I had just bought a house, and I enjoyed the process. I enjoyed looking on Zillow, what I could afford, like all that kind of, you know. And my friend's mother was my agent, and I told her, I said, I just need a big garage that I could turn into my gym. Mm-hmm. So the first house she showed me was a detached 2.5 car garage.
It's not easy to find those, actually.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing.
No, it's, and
Where do you live? What town?
That was in Seaford.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first house she showed me, we see like 3 more houses that day, and the whole time my mind is like, and the guy that owned the house before me had it. It was a gym. It had a shower. It had a bathroom. You know, in the like detached. It was like a house, and I ended up buying that house, and I was like, she made the easiest commission in the world. You know, like I could do this. Like I enjoy looking on Zillow, and you watch HDTV. They make it look so easy, right? You show them 3 houses, they pick one. It's
not easy, man. It's not.
So I got my license, and then that's when I realized it's not as easy as I was probably the easiest buyer, and that house just happened, you know, just like luck of whatever. But yeah, I got my license. I got my real estate license. I had always had, Uriah Faber was my coach on The Ultimate Fighter, and he's real estate investor. He owns a bunch of property in.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he was buying houses. You know, when they were giving anyone loans for anything. Yeah. And he was able to make the payments on all these houses because he would rent them out to his teammates. Yeah. So he had like a whole block that he was renting out houses to, and he. You know, being exposed to that, I went out there and I trained with him and I stayed with him, and he would always, tell me the importance of investing, and he told me the difference between, you know, having your investments pay for your lifestyle, or just, you know, fighting and paying for your lifestyle. It's like, these guys are all buying all these things. I'm buying real estate, and the real estate is paying for my things, and that was something that really stuck with me, and that's when I could afford my first house. That was the first thing. Like, I basically emptied my bank account. You know, I probably could have waited, held off, and saved a little bit more money, been a little bit more comfortable. But I was like, I got to buy this house, and I bought it. I did the same thing, rented out. They call it house hacking now. You know, so I was house hacking my house and doing it that way. So I kind of got started on the investment side and the sales side kind of at the same time.
Do you want to go deeper into the investing side?
Yeah, definitely. So that house I still own. I rent it out, and I bought another house in Seaford that I rent out.
There you go.
Yeah. So I do, and just keep selling houses, taking that money, buy investment properties, and keep doing it that way.
No, it's smart. I mean, people always come to me and they say they want to flip. They see it on TV. You know, it looks sexy. But what I tell people is, like, I always reference Brian Karp. So Brian Karp, one of the greatest realtors, could be of our generation, 205 houses by himself in 2019. Him and I basically do the same thing. So I flip houses to get money to buy rental properties. and he sells houses in order to get rental properties.
Yep.
So it's like everybody I feel should invest in real estate. I don't think there's any greater investment, especially like the last couple of years. You've seen, there's houses I've bought in like, Mastic, Bellport, Shirley for 40, 50, 60,000 that are worth $400,000 today, with inflation and everything that's going on. So you just have to find a way to get money some way to put it back into real estate, and that just basically explodes.
Yeah.
Your wealth.
No, I think that's what I want to do. That's the goal.
Yeah, man. Well, if you have any questions about that, whatever I know, I'm happy to share with you.
Absolutely. I'm definitely gonna have to.
I kind of want to end with, you're doing a lot of things right now. Seems like you have a lot of energy. You're always, you're still training, you're commentating, you're going to support, your buddies, you're in real estate, you're doing motivational speaking. What, are you just testing a bunch of things out? Do you have a plan for the future? Or are you just enjoying the ride?
Yeah, I'm just kind of enjoying the ride. I kind of got myself into a bunch of different things, and for me to really focus on one thing, I think I'm at the point where I'm having fun with everything. I know that to be extremely successful in one avenue, I'd have to kind of drop everything else. But I think real estate will be the one thing eventually. But my teammates, these guys that helped me through my rise, now it's their time. So I'm there kind of supporting those guys. I'm going to their fights, and I'm still at the gym helping them. And I think once they kind of move through the ranks and do their thing, maybe I'll get them into real estate, and we'll kind of just all focus on the real estate. The commentating is just I think it's good for me to I think it's good for it's good to stay connected. It's good for me to think and process, speak. The same thing with the public speaking I'm doing.
Yeah.
I get up there, and that fulfills my void of the rush. I was way more confident going in the cage to fight somebody in front of a lot of people than I am to go out on stage and talk in front of, even if it's just like 20 people. I get more nervous. I start sweating. My voice gets hoarse. I'm like my dry mouth. It is absolutely incredible how fearful that can be. And I don't know why. I know what I'm talking about. It's not like I'm, but I guess it's just preparation. I'm not as prepared as I am for the fighting and as experienced. But yeah, I like the public speaking. So yeah, I'm just kind of trying to figure. I have a goal. I want to sell 20 houses this year.
Nice. How you doing so far?
I have 7 under contract. I got 3 in the pipeline. We're about halfway through the year,
so there.
I'm on pace. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to add to that. We're going to do one together.
Let's do it, man.
All right, so we're going to do one by the end of the year. I want to contribute to the 20.
Awesome, man. Dude, that's awesome.
Cool.
You're the man. 100%.
Really appreciate it.
I'm going to try to find you one to flip.
Yo, that would be even better.
Let's do it.
I'll give you one. If you can find a flip, give it back. I give it back to you. That's 2.
Let's go.
We're one step closer. That's 10% to the 20. But we're definitely going to do that on the second half of next of this
brother.
year. Really appreciate you coming out, man. Thank you. For your fans or people who just met you and they want to follow along with what you're doing, how do they find you on social media?
At Iaquinta on Twitter and Instagram.
So if you're looking to buy a house, sell a house, this is your guy. If you're a betting man and you're betting on the UFC fights, I would definitely check him out. I've been following them, and your track record seems pretty stellar,
I've been doing pretty good, man. I've been doing pretty good. It's I don't know. I don't know what I can I guess I just know my stuff.
Obviously, I'm the handsome home buyer. You know the drill. If you have a house that smells like cat pee, dated from the 1960s, I'm easy. I want to buy it, commercial, residential, and obviously check out Sal Rizzolo at Carlton Financial. We appreciate you guys. That's a wrap.